Our top stories on the news tonight. Kaduna train attack victims demand compensation from the federal government. Nigeria may lose $23 billion in 2023 if crude oil theft is unchecked, National Security Advisor warns. Mixed reactions trail Tinubu's performance at Chatham House. Well, many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack are demanding compensation from the federal government to enable them to restart life. This comes nearly 2 months after the last batch of the 63 kidnapped victims of the March 28 train attack in Kaduna were released. The victims say most of them lost their means of livelihood when they were in the custody of the terrorists who kidnapped them during the train attack. The victims claim the federal government is yet to fulfill the promises made to them shortly after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari upon their release in October.
As a citizen of this country, which I'm very proud to be, I'm expecting much more from them. Let's be sincere, because as a citizen which these incidents occurred to, I'm expecting them to at least come to our aid and think, what is happening with you guys? How are you coping with life? Okay, let's help you. Those people who lose their jobs, okay, come, let's sit down. Both of you that have problems with your business, okay, come, let's assist you so that at least you won't fall into a depression or something. Actually, they did collected our contacts that they were going to get back to us, but till now nobody said anything. We're just living by his mercy because as at the time our family members realized themselves in this mess, they've gone through difficulties. Let's be sincere, because many of us sold our things. Currently now everybody is facing different challenges with the things we've lost, and many of us are even working under a private institution, and while these incidents occur, you know, they are definitely they are going to replace you with somebody. You are not going to, they won't wait for you to let this person come back first. No. So many of us have even lose what they are doing, and source of income short. So we're just trying to start from somewhere.
National Security Advisor Babagana Monguno has estimated that the federal government may lose $23 billion in 2023 if crude oil theft continues. He made the comment on Tuesday during the inauguration of a special investigation panel set up to check crude oil theft in the country. While lamenting the poor revenues accruing from the petroleum sector, it charged members of the committee to work towards reducing the menace. Monguno also expressed worries that the nation currently produces 1 million barrels of crude oil per day as against the 2 million barrels daily target by the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. And now to politics. In what may have been described as a rare media appearance, the presidential candidates of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC Bola Tinubu, has addressed both the national and international audience about his action plan for Nigeria. Speaking at the Chatham House, Tinubu answered questions concerning his age. He, however, delegated his elected aides, Femi Gbajabiamila, Speaker of the House of Representatives, and Nasir El-Rufai, Governor of Kaduna State, to answer questions regarding insecurity and high unemployment rates in the country. Mary Kanu tells us more in this report.
As the 2023 general elections draw closer, candidates have continued to take advantage of various platforms to garner support. The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, in a rare media appearance, spoke after Royal Institute of International Affairs in London on his agenda for Nigeria. Tinubu promised that his administration will be committed to energy sufficiency through the reform of the sector.
Our focus will be on using technology and expertise to accelerate growth and development by providing the critical infrastructure necessary to achieve the commodity transformation in the agricultural value chain. Roads, rail, access to ports, storage and infrastructure, are what we require to radically transform the agricultural sector and increase its value to the nation. We have privatized the power distribution in Nigeria and generation to a certain degree. What we need to do going forward is to improve the enabling environment and further reform the legal regulatory framework to attract more private investment in the sector, as we have experienced in the telecom industry.
While emphasizing the need for Africa to uphold democracy, the APC flag bearer appealed to Nigerians and his fellow contestants to shun violence regardless of their political differences for a peaceful election in 2023.
I have long fought against electoral malpractice. Any attempt to extinguish the legitimacy of choice of voters, I will continue to do so, I promise. I hereby urge all my fellow contestants in this election to do the same. Let the sovereign will of the people decide the path of our nation, and let this election be determined by voters.
On ways to curb widespread insecurity in Nigeria, the Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai spoke on behalf of the former Lagos State Governor. He said Tinubu's administration will scale up manpower, machinery and innovation to tackle insecurity in the country.
Nigeria has about 300,000 policemen for a population of over 200 million. We need at least twice that number. That will be achieved by amending the Constitution so that policing can be at federal, state, and even at community level. The equipment, the skills, and the training of the armed forces will be scaled up, will be increased rapidly to meet the asymmetric nature of the security challenges that we face.
While the conversations at this event addressed the basic development needs of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu has been criticized for delegating questions directed at him to his party men. Mary Kanu, TV360, Lagos.
Well, many Nigerians are still trying to understand why Bola Tinubu, presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, delegated his campaign aide to speak on his behalf. But joining me to discuss this further is Nelson Ekujimi, political affairs analyst. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, spokesman for the candidates of the main opposition, People's Democratic Party, PDP, has described the situation as an abdication of responsibility. Are these concerns valid or just a storm in a teacup?
Thank you very much. Once again, Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu has shown that he's a unique candidate. He has shown once again that the presidency is not a one-man affair. That is a team effort. That is why you can see on his ticket for the presidential election, he is running with a vice presidential candidate. It tells you clearly that this is a candidate who believes in teamwork, who is conversant with the provisions of the Constitution that empowers him when he gets into office to appoint ministers and social advisors to help him in carrying out his functions as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And what this shows you clearly is the level of lack of knowledge of delegated responsibility that comes with leadership, that some people believing once you are a leader, you must be a superhuman. And that was why the former American president, Bill Clinton, on a visit to Africa in 2000, when he was in power, advised African countries to build strong institutions rather than strong men. What Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done with the outing that they chatter about is to tell all on Sunday that, look, when I get into office, these are the men and women with ideas. I alone don't have the knowledge or the idea to solve Nigeria's problem. We are going to work as a team, and that is the way to go.
But some would still say that delegating responsibility should come at the stage when he is in power and he needs special advisors for specific issues. But at this stage now, in the campaigning stage, is it necessary for him to actually speak through mouthpieces rather than speak to the electorate directly, telling them what exactly it would do in situations, sensitive situation, if you'd like, in the areas of insecurity and unemployment?
Well, like our people say in the local parlance, how the day will look like, you see it from the morning. He doesn't have to wait until he gets into office. What he has done with that presentation at Chatham House, like he has done in some other public houses of his, is to show you clearly that, look, the issues about the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it is not a Bola Tinubu's mentality or knowledge alone to solve. It's a collective responsibility. That is why, even as a social affairs commentator, one always admonishes that, look, the responsibility for good governance in our society is a collective one. Anybody assuming he has found a God in a human being must be an Alice in Wonderland. He doesn't have to wait until he gets into office. Even if he gets into office, you and I know very well that he cannot rule the country with only his ideas. He has to rule with ideas of members of his cabinet as well as other arms of government. Even the legislature is also a contributory organ to ruling the country. So waiting for him to get into office, I don't think it will be out of place for him to start showcasing those qualities of his collegiate leadership. That, look, we are going to run a government of us rather than a government of I.
Well, indeed, Nelson Akujimi, political affairs analyst, thank you very much for your time and your contribution. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has called on Nigerians in the northeastern parts of the country to vote based on credibility rather than religious or ethnical bias. Obi made this known at the interactive session with the Northeast stakeholders in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. While assuring of an inclusive government when elected into office, the former governor restated his commitment to move Nigeria from a consumption to production nation. Obi said the level of youth unemployment in the north is part of the factors fueling insecurity in the region, adding that he and his running mate, Dati Baba Ahmed, have the best experience to handle the challenges of insecurity plaguing the country.
What we want to do is that I've told people in Taraba, I will come to Taraba to fight poverty. I'm not going to do anything from Abuja. All these programs about poverty that they announced in Abuja will end. I will take it to the state. And the people will know I'm doing it there. So if I say that our budget this year is to fight poverty, and we budgeted maybe 1 trillion, which will be more, I will share it according to the state and go to the state and say, the people of Taraba, this is your share. And this is what I'm doing in Taraba. Everybody will see it. They will feel it. And they will know, if everybody is listening, they will know what to do. That's how countries work. We will no longer do it from Abuja. It won't be TV announcements. We will announce it and we'll do it. We must put people out of poverty.
Nigerians are just yearning for change, and people are determined that this time around, the change that we have been craving for will come. And fortunately, we have a competent person in Peter Obi and his running mate that can fill the void that this change demands. Because you need to have an arrowhead to drive this change, and these two provide a very suitable arrowhead to me, to my mind.
We felt we, the Northeasterners, should come together, and we are here today in Abuja to discuss the issue of how we are going to protect the vote on that day, how we are going to get more vote canvassers, and how we are going to ensure that Obi and Dati emerge as winners after the election in February.
With 80 days to the 2023 general election in the country, the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, has again assured the commission will not fail the nation and the international community. The INEC chairman made the pledge at a meeting with a delegation from the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel region in Abuja. Addressing the delegation led by Giovanni Biha, who is Deputy Special Representative of the UN Secretary General, Yakubu vowed that INEC will continue to make incremental improvements to its electoral process. The visiting UN envoy on the part expressed concerns over incessant attacks on facilities of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in the build-up to the general election next year.
With just 81 days to the 2023 general election, we have made tremendous progress in our preparations so far. This is the 7th consecutive general election since the restoration of democracy in Nigeria in 1999. We are aware of the importance of our elections to Nigeria, our sub-region, and the world. We assure you that the Commission will not fail the nation and the international community. We will continue to make incremental improvement to our electoral process, supported by the deployment of appropriate and relevant technology.
From the outset, really, I would like to commend your leadership, but also those of the commissioners and the whole team in the way you are leading this organization, but the example that you set for the whole region in terms of professionalism, integrity, and independence, and the trust that the people put into INEC for the upcoming elections, but also in the past. We also appreciate the fact that your organizations has also shared experiences across the region in terms of organizing credible, transparent, and inclusive elections.
Still on political matters, the National Coalition of Polling Unit Ambassadors has urged the Northern elders to support Bola Tinubu's presidential ambition in the spirit of equity, fairness and justice. The group described as heartbreaking a situation where another Northerner is being paraded to become a presidential candidate, given that the incumbent president is from the North. The convener and project director of the group, Ajayi Taiwo, who spoke on Monday, explained that such act is capable of setting the country ablaze, while urging the Northern elders to have a change of mindset and support Tinubu as a candidate for the 2023 election in the spirit of fairness. The group, however, applauded the Northern progressive governors and Northern traditional institutions, Northern youths and scholars for their support for Tinubu's ambition.
Nigeria has 6 geopolitical regions. And as of today, it is believed that the power is shifted between the south and the north. Today, Nigeria has clocked 62 years. Out of the 62 years, it is on record that the north has ruled Nigeria for 47 years. Now, it will be unfair on other regions if we now ask a northerner to hand over again to another northerner this time. How would it be hard off if Obasanjo at the time was determined to hand over to another Yoruba man? That's at the time he was to leave office. So we are just appealing to our brothers in the spirit of understanding, fairness, and goodwill. So please, let's do the just so that everybody will feel comfortable within this country called Nigeria that we all find ourselves.
Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, CBN limits cash withdrawals to 100,000 naira. Details of this story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. Victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack are demanding compensation from the federal government to enable them to restart life. This comes nearly 2 months after the last batch of the 63 kidnapped victims of the March 28 train attack in Kaduna were released. The victims claim the federal government is yet to fulfill the promises made to them shortly after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari upon their release in October. We also told you that the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Monguno, has estimated that the federal government may lose $23 billion in 2023 if crude oil theft continues. Monguno also expressed worries that the nation currently produces 1 million barrels of crude oil per day as against the 2 million barrels daily target set by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. The Australian government has delayed a key meeting of federal and state leaders called to discuss measures to contain soaring power prices on Tuesday after Prime Minister Anthony Albanese tested positive for COVID-19. The National Cabinet was expected to meet on Wednesday, with Albanese looking to forge consensus between the states and Canberra on reducing energy prices, which have risen sharply due to Russia's war in Ukraine. The Prime Minister said the meeting would now happen virtually on Friday. The autumn booster program for COVID-19 vaccinations has passed the 1 million mark in Wales. The latest boosters started being rolled out in September, and around 8,300 doses are still being given out today. Around half of people in their 50s and early 60s have now been reached. According to the latest figures, the total now stands at over 1 million boosters given out. Well, we'll take a breather here and be back with more stories and business. To stay with us. Welcome back. Simisala Adiguna joins us for more stories in business. What's the latest?
Thank you very much, Folashade. Now in business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced a new policy that mandates deposit money banks and other financial institutions to ensure that over-the-counter cash withdrawals by individuals and corporate entities do not exceed 100,000 naira and 500,000 naira respectively per week. The revised cash withdrawal limit was contained in a circular issued on Tuesday by the Apex Bank, and it will take effect nationwide on January 9, 2023. Now, once the policy takes effect, all cash withdrawals above the stated limit will attract processing fees of 5% and 10% respectively. The CBN added that there is a provision for individuals and corporates to withdraw 5 million and 10 million naira respectively once a month. The new policy is coming barely weeks after President Muhammadu Buhari launched the newly redesigned 200, 500 and 1,000 naira banknotes. About 25.3 million people will face food insecurity across Nigeria between June and August 2023, according to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. Now, the FAO, in a statement, warned that if actions are not taken to avert the crisis, 4.4 million people in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states will be affected. The UN Food Agency, in its October 2022 Food and Nutrition Analysis, said about 17 million people in the country were already facing food crisis. These include IDPs and returnees in 26 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. The report added that 3 million of these are living in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states. We'll go on a short break here and be back with Stock Market Report. It's another positive run for the Nigerian Exchange Limited as investors turned their attention towards the fixed income stocks. The equities market continued its bullish trend on Tuesday, appreciating by 0.20%, gaining 47 billion naira. Of course, the all-share index and market cap appreciated as well to 48,366 basis points and 26.3 trillion naira. The market breadth also closed positive with 16 gainers and 13 losers. Now, the bullish trend is led by EcoBank Transnational Incorporated and National Salt Company, driving the gains with a combined 11 naira. Now, at the close of today's trading, 184 million volume of shares valued at 3.5 billion naira were exchanged in 3,189 deals. Now to our select global stocks, the UK's FTSE and US Dow Jones are down by 0.52% and 0.80%. However, Japan's Nikkei, on the other hand, traded in the bulls, appreciating by 0.24%. Well, that's the stock market report. Falashade has the rest of the news.
Well, many thanks to Ms. Salah for that update. And on the foreign scene, Ukraine has warned of more emergency blackouts, particularly in the Kyiv region, after a wave of Russian missile attacks damaged energy infrastructure that had only just been repaired. The barrage of missiles, which plunged parts of Ukraine back into freezing darkness with temperatures below 32 Fahrenheit, was the latest in weeks of attacks hitting critical infrastructure. President Volodymyr Zelensky, in a video address late on Monday, disclosed that at least 4 people were killed, adding that most of the estimated 70 missiles had been shot down. In sports, Super Eagles coach Jose Peseiro has assured that Nigeria will qualify for the 2026 World Cup, which should be co-hosted by the United States, Canada and Mexico. The Portuguese coach, who has been in Qatar since the beginning of the knockout phase, gave the assurance on Tuesday. Super Eagles missed out on the 2022 edition, hosted for the first time by an Arab nation, Qatar, after losing 1-1 on away goals ruled to rivals Ghana Black Stars. And that's the size of a news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Falashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.